This is Eitan Weinstein.
And I'm Naor Menninger, and you're listening to Two Nice Jewish Boys.
This podcast is made in collaboration with the Jewish Journal. Check them out at jewishjournal.com. Also in collaboration with Arutz Sheva, IsraelNationalNews.com. And last but not least, in collaboration with Australian Jewish News, check them out at ajn.timesofisrael.com. If you'd like to support the podcast, visit 2njb.com/donate. Okay, we haven't done a monthly recap in a whole month. It's been a whole month.
Gotta stop working.
That's crazy. We gotta. I mean,
what's
we gotta do these monthly recaps more often. Maybe once a week.
Yeah.
But I say we keep the name.
How about an hourly?
But I say we keep it a monthly recap, no matter how often we do it.
You got it. It's already
it's a thing.
well
it's a trademark.
It's a trademark.
So guys, we got tons to talk about, don't we?
Yeah. Hectic times.
Yes.
Disturbing.
But
Disturbing
before, maybe
things.
we'll plug our podcast a little bit.
Which one?
This one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, the one that we're on right now.
Right. We have
Two
so
Nice
many.
Jewish Boys. The
Yes.
Two Nice Jewish Boys podcast. We just recorded a really, really great episode with Mor Sha'al, which will be coming out soon. She's an amazing woman who basically helps random homeless people on the street, like she sits and talks with them and buys them food.
Yeah.
And she, sometimes
Also, we had Noam Schuster. Yeah, sorry.
invites them over to take showers.
Yeah.
I was in the middle.
Okay, sorry.
I mean, that sounds weird though. Invites them over to take showers.
Yeah.
But no, she does amazing
helps
work.
them.
She has an amazing project on Head Starter. Anyway, look out for that episode. Also,
we have amazing episodes coming up. So we have Noam Schuster. She's a stand-up
Patient
comedian.
355.
Yes.
5.
Yes.
She
was She's a stand-up comedian who got sick with corona and found herself in the Corona Hotel Corona in Jerusalem.
Such a lovely place.
Such a lovely place.
Oh God!
And
now I know why we're podcasting.
And yeah, those who can teach Jim.
Yeah, it's those who can't teach. Those who can't teach podcast. That's the new saying.
That's the proverb. So guys, check out and we did an episode with Moshe Feiglin, which we released it last week. Because we record this on Thursday night, but we'll publish it in the beginning of next week. So check it out, and we'll talk about some things that have been said there. Very offending things.
Offensive, yeah.
Offensive.
Yes, we'll get into that.
But first of all,
yes.
Where do we start?
So
many things.
I think we've talked a lot about the corona situation in Israel. So let's talk a bit about what's going on in the States right now, which is basically the apocalypse. We thought corona was the end.
Right.
But this is really the end.
Listen, I mean, in your life, in our lifetime, never such...
no. There was
not that severe and that fast.
I think the Rodney King
it was in
riots
LA.
was
only LA.
Just in LA, but it was probably much more severe than this. But again, that was in 91, 92, I think.
This
so
is national in dozens of cities.
Yeah, no, this is pretty insane what's going on.
I have so many thoughts about it. Really.
Yeah. The first thing that I think is that if you think this has anything to do with George Floyd, then I'm sorry, but you are completely delusional. Completely.
How come?
I mean, first of all, you're seeing the videos, right? Of, people looting, running into stores, pulling out Nike shoes and TVs and
Sodom
whatever.
and Gomorrah.
It's not, these people aren't, the rioters are definitely not there for some, ideal
or justice.
These are people who were walking around this world with like a very thin veil of civility that's been lifted, and now we see them for who they really are. And if you think I'm talking about black people when I say this, because it pisses me off. People hear that statement and they're like, "Oh, you racist." If you think I'm talking about
called all black people
yeah.
vandalizers.
I'm not talking about black people. I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Jewish, whatever you are, if you're out there rioting and
if
looting,
you're Dutch, we have a problem. But
no, but
apart
seriously,
from
if you're out there rioting and looting, it's disgusting. It's just disgusting
Yeah.
what's going on, and it's just so far removed, you know.
it raises some deep questions about American society, because you got to wonder, one of the things that you hear is people say, it's just a small bunch. They don't represent the peaceful protests that are taking place all throughout America. Most of the protesters are peaceful and they would never do such horrific things. Okay, so first of all, I don't believe that. Like, I of course I acknowledge that some of the protesters are really peaceful and non-violent, but as it shows, at least from the numbers and from the pictures we're seeing, there are a lot of really bad people who commit crimes.
Yeah,
it's not a small bunch. No.
And many of these people there's many victims also of these rioting,
Yes.
and many of them are black
minorities.
people. Minorities.
Yeah,
There's been two black cops that I've heard of, David Dorn and Pat Underwood. David Dorn was just horrific. There's a video of him. He's just...
That's the 77-year-old guy?
No, I don't think he's 77. I'm not sure. But there's a video. He's completely blurred out, and he's just dead on the floor. He's been shot over a television.
Mm-hmm.
He was off duty. And Pat Underwood was a security guard, I think, and he was also gunned down basically during the riots. And the deaths are already in the tens, and soon, I mean, hopefully not, but they could quickly rise to the hundreds. And it's just unbelievable what's going on in the States.
I have, my main question is, how many Americans are capable of taking advantage of such a situation even, and go and rob a shop?
So I think most Americans are good people, and I think there's a survey that came out actually, where overwhelming amount of people support putting the boots on the ground, basically the National Guard and military on the streets.
But
at this point,
still, it feels like there are a lot of people who are capable of doing that. It's not 0.005%. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Too many people are capable, and that's scary. Now, put aside those people. What about the white people, or the white people who kneel and apologize for African Americans?
Oh yeah, you saw that tweet. Yeah, you sent it to me.
I saw videos.
Yeah,
it's a whole phenomenon.
The video. There's a video for those of you guys who haven't seen it of a Black Lives Matter protester. He identifies himself in the video as
that
Black
one might
Lives
be
Matter.
might be fake. Might be fake. I'm not sure. I read some theories, but okay.
I mean, you see him run up to a woman and scare the living shit out of her. And she's, I mean, it's just on the streets of New York. I think it's New York. And he points at her and tells her to kneel down and apologize for the white privilege that you have.
She immediately does it. But you see demonstrations. You see photos of African American protesters, and all the white people around them are kneeling to them.
Yeah.
So it's a whole I don't know, a whole
it's this
thing.
weird ritual. And I also saw a video where they
It's also
this
disturbing.
huge crowd was basically demanding from the police to kneel.
Right.
Which is just insane. If you live in a land of law and order, the civilians don't command the police around. That's just not how it works.
Right.
I'm all for having a discussion about the power of the police force, even the militarization of the police force. And I think me being the libertarian that I am, I believe in our civil liberties, and I don't want the police or the government encroaching on them in any way.
Right.
And I think that's important. But you can't have people demanding the police to kneel. The police are there to keep law and order. A civilian doesn't tell a police officer what to do.
Right. I saw a post of someone who lives in Los Angeles, an Israeli. I won't disclose his name, but he was essentially writing his thoughts, and his point was, us Jews, Israelis who live in the States, but also American Jews, we're white. We're white. We're part of the white society who are oppressing, and it's on us also. And we should be ashamed, essentially, for what's going on in America, the discrimination, the racism. And I was outraged by this. I think American Jews have to look deep into their souls and ask themselves, what are they doing in a country in which there's no law and order?
I don't think America's lost completely law and order. I think as of now, in many cities, it has temporarily. But I think it'll be regained.
Okay. But the fact that it was lost in so many places for a long time, for days, and this, to me it's a warning sign. Not to mention the anti-Semitic graffitis and attacks against synagogues.
You combine the two and you have disaster. You combine that anti-Semitic fervor and the riots, and you get just disaster.
Always in history, when there were riots, they blamed the Jews. And it's a deep question of, do you want to raise your kids in a country where law can be so easily lost?
So I think that is what is on America to prove right now. I think that is what the government, the current government, Trump, the administration should show, and the governors, so the state authorities. I think it is their duty right now to show. And, I can't believe I'm saying this, but who's boss? Basically, there's going to be law and order here. There's not going to be chaos.
But they failed.
I don't think
they
so.
tried to do curfews. They brought in the national security.
I think in a week things will settle down. It's going to take some time, but I think America will go back.
But the damage was done.
Of course, the damage is always done. You can't take things back.
When all the stores in New York City, they barricade.
Yeah. I think something like 400 businesses in the Minneapolis area were vandalized, destroyed, some of them. It's just crazy.
It's ridiculous. Like, I don't think you can build a future in a country that so easily goes into flames.
I disagree there. I think that if you are living in America and you think that you are not living in one of the best places in the world, then, you're delusional. And I think that if you're devoting your time to anything but progressing yourself individually, because, if you don't understand that you in America, as an American citizen, have more freedom than anybody else anywhere, maybe not in the world. Maybe there's a few countries that you could argue are roughly as well off as America, but basically anywhere in the world for all of history, like, you have it better. Okay, you have more freedoms than anybody has ever had, and if you're wasting your time, devoting your time to anything but progressing yourself personally, getting a job, working, saving money, building yourself a life, trying to build a family, if you're doing anything but that, you're just wasting your time.
But you know what, Eytan? Some people did it, and they devoted all their lives into their business, a store in Los Angeles or in New York, and now it's in ruins.
It's been ripped away from them.
So
but you know what? Those people
what's the moral of the story here?
Those people will bounce back because they are strong, resilient people who have good values, and they know what it means to build yourself a life, and they will bounce back because they're strong. And the idiots who looted their lives will end up in prison, hopefully, or if not, then their life will probably not end up very...
Yeah, but in 10 years, it might happen again. And you know what? They played by the rules. The business owners, they devoted their lives, they worked hard. And when they were expecting their state to protect their rights, the state failed them. And
you know my opinion on that. You can never count on the state. You should own a gun, and you should stand outside your shop shooting people if they try and vandalize it. And in the United States, luckily for many people in many states, you can do that. And I think this just goes to show all the the people who are anti-Second Amendment and oh my God, gun ownership. Why do people need guns?
Well,
this is why
turns out-
people
yeah.
need guns.
I mean,
For good people to protect themselves against bad people, basically, which seemed like it should have been obvious enough from the beginning, but I don't know. I think people have had it too good for too long, and they just forgot like the really simple stuff. Like there's bad people, and you want to protect yourself from the bad people, so you need the stuff you have to protect yourself from the bad people, which is guns.
yeah.
Which, right? I think you were saying that, like, in the states where there's the Second Amendment, what was it that you read?
I didn't read, but I saw that in Indiana, there was a video of Black Lives Matter march, and on the sidelines you see white people carrying M16s. Okay, and they're not intervening in the march, like they don't disturb the protesters, but they're just protecting their home.
They're present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the biggest shame, that there is that
the
line
divide
right now, and it's being created. I don't think that it really exists in most Americans' hearts. I think that this is really being created by the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that, and we'll get to talk about George Floyd and that whole issue in a minute, but I really think that it's like, get your own cause. You guys showed up 70 years late, okay? Or 60 years late, okay? The civil rights movement happened. Black people have every right, and there's no liberties that have been taken from them. And I can just hear people like yelling, right?
you're privileged.
You're
What
privileged.
would you know?
You don't know systemic racism. You know what? And it's just a shame that I have to say this, but like, just because I'm white, there's plenty of black people, okay? It doesn't make their arguments more relevant because they're black, but there's plenty of black people in the black community, leaders that are promoting this idea, right? That, hey guys, wake up. You have it good in America. There's, Candace Owens, Ayan Hersey Ali. You guys should look this woman up. She basically...
What's her name again?
Ayan Hersey Ali, Somalian, who went through awful things in Somalia, and she lives in the United States now. I think she was from not Denmark, but Belgium, and she lives in the United States. Amazing woman of color. Which is completely irrelevant. Larry Elder.
I think it's obvious that and countless amount of African Americans built a really good life by now. I mean, we all know them. We know the names.
Yeah. One of them was president.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't agree with the ideas, and I think that many of the ideas he has promotes this stuff. But like,
so it's not impossible.
Yeah.
To build a future, no matter what's your race, I guess.
It's just so frustrating talking about this, because there's also this like, right? There's this atmosphere of like, if you say anything against it, right? The Black Lives Matter. If you talk about the fact that maybe
you're
there
racist.
isn't systemic,
you're a Nazi.
Yeah. If you talk about the fact that maybe there isn't systemic racism in the States, you're like,
yeah, you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
You're a Nazi. And
you're KKK basically.
Yeah.
You want to kill black people.
And no matter if you're a Jew who
whose family, but like that's what pisses me off. Is like, why do I have to hold up my suffering in order to like for my words to mean something? Can't you just use your head and listen to my words and decide if they're racist or not racist? Like, I'm not saying anything racist here.
Right. Yeah, I know. I was having an argument with some friends about that, and I was looking for statistics, and Look, I don't know much about the situation of African Americans in America, okay? I'm not, but, I was Googling as a complete ignorant.
Outsider, yeah.
I was Googling numbers just to know what's going on, and I saw that in 2018, 60% of homicides and 50% of theft crimes in America were by African Americans, and they're only 13, they were in 2018, 13% of the population.
13% committing 60%. And this, by the way, it's not all 13% committing the 60%.
Of course.
Of course. And
of course not.
This isn't a gotcha moment. This is a tragedy for the black community.
Yeah.
Because most of them most of it is black on black crime.
Right. They suffer from it. And the guys I was arguing with, they were like, basically they said, you're a racist for bringing that pure numbers.
Yeah.
Pure numbers. I guess math is also racist.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're a racist. Of course you're a racist.
So at that point, you know, you can't. It's
just
pointless.
such an infantile and
it's filled with virtue signaling.
Oh yeah,
it's filled with it.
Yeah,
I mean, you feel so good. I understand those friends of mine because it makes you feel so good when you are on the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw I don't even know who this was, but I saw on LinkedIn a guy a software engineer who quit his job at Facebook because he couldn't stand by as Facebook didn't take a stand against the Trump administration. Like all these other companies, right? Twitter,
you're posting a photo.
So he quit his job at Facebook. It's like, how much of an idiot do you have to be to quit your job? It's just so unbelievable. Yeah. Do you really feel like Facebook is doing such a travesty by just saying, you know what, we're not getting involved? Like, how delusional do you have to be to think that America is so egregious, the acts of America or the systemic racism in America is so egregious that you cannot stand by? Like, who do you think you are? You think you're in 1940s or 1930s Germany? You're not. Like, get over yourselves. You live in an amazing place and an amazing time. It drives me insane to think about these, like, idiots.
And to the people who say that Jews should feel bad and that American Jews are privileged, I have one thing to say. That's complete false. Jews and American Jews are not privileged. All the American Jews, I mean, it's obvious, but we got to say it.
Yeah.
All American Jews, they came pretty late. They joined the party pretty late. They didn't enslave African Americans. They didn't enslave the Native Americans and build their wealth upon these travesties. No, they came with nothing. And if they have something today, they build it from zero by working hard. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. And if you were born to parents or to grandparents who built a business and became rich, you're not privileged. You're just a person who were born to people who worked hard for you. So there's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
And
I think we have to like just also assume that people are, merit what they have, right? That like if you like that you don't have to like actively search for the reason why a person doesn't deserve what he has, or how he built himself on others' suffering. It's like, that's such a sad place to come out of. Like, why are you not deserving of the things you have? Well, if you look in history, it's like, screw you, Right. Like,
how long can you go with that argument? Like in 100 years, still, someone's got to put a red line here.
It's just unbelievable.
And these riots, what will they give you? How do they help the cause?
No, they definitely don't. But I wish, and this kind of, we have to talk about George Floyd.
Yeah.
But I think that like there is a way to do it. There was this great meme going on about like basically the difference between, it was a picture and it's kind of shallow, but it was a picture of Martin Luther King marching, and Martin Luther King protested and he marched on Washington, he marched to Salem. Like he was like, that's protest. First of all, he had a reason to, but this is not connected to that. And I think that it's a shame that the line was crossed, because I feel like maybe there's a conversation to be had, right?
Yeah.
I definitely don't agree with it. I think the whole idea of like institutionalized racism and systemic racism in America or in the police force is just...
and what do you say to the fact that an African American has a ×5 more of a chance to get arrested for pot-related offenses in America than a white person?
I think it has to... I mean, just from my common sense, I think it has to do with the fact that in America, policing is crime and statistic driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way you can lead your police force, is to drive it by statistics. I think that's one of the reasons that the murder rate in New York basically went down half, right? It used to be something like 600 deaths or homicides a year, and it went down to like I think around 300. I think it was during the 80s or 90s. They basically started driving their policing according to statistics. And, everybody's going to say, oh, stop and frisk, it's racial profiling. But basically, they started looking at neighborhoods that had high crime rates and saying, this is where we need to be. These are where the criminals are, and we're going to police here. Makes sense. Like, oh, people are killing a bunch of people in this place. No. You need to police all neighborhoods equally. You can't look at that neighborhood specific. It's like, why not? Because they're black. Oh, I didn't notice.
That's
I just
racist.
noticed that there's high numbers of crime there.
That's racist. That is racist to not provide minorities
exactly
the protection they deserve only because the fear it might look racist.
Which
that's
is
racist.
There's Heather McDonald wrote an amazing book on cops and policing and the effects of it. But that's one of the things, right? Is that like these people, these good black people in these black communities would die, would give anything.
They
to
would
have
die.
Policing.
They would die if you won't do anything.
Exactly. No,
they will die.
They really would. They really want policing in their neighborhood. They want the police on the streets, and that's what brought the crime rate down in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what leads basically what
But
I'm getting at is
Eitan?
what I'm getting at
At
is
what
though I
price?
just want to complete the
Okay.
that's what leads to the marijuana issue, is that basically you have more policing in these neighborhoods where higher crime is, and then those people get caught with doing less minor crimes, right? Because you basically have a bunch of cops driving around this what happens to be a black neighborhood because you have high crime rates in these neighborhoods, and we could talk about that. I don't think it happens to be. I think there's actually a problem that needs to be addressed in the black community, and I'm not afraid to say it, and it's not racist. But anyway, they end up policing more and catch more black people with pot than white people because they're not policing in suburbia.
Yeah.
Because people aren't shooting each other in suburbia.
Yeah. So what about George Floyd? What's there to be said that hasn't been said?
Guys, I've just been like simmering with all these thoughts this week.
Yeah.
Because it's just been, I don't know.
Sitting on your chest.
So I recently read.
Sitting on your.
Yeah. That's maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's fitting or not fitting, but I recently read that. First, I want to say, and I feel like you'll agree with me, George Floyd should not have died.
Of course, come on. I mean, it's obvious.
He shouldn't have died.
Yeah.
And this guy, this cop, who probably killed him, meaning, I don't think it was cold-blooded, premeditated murder. I think, which there's differences. There's differences, people, right? There's a difference if I plan 2 days ahead that I'm going to murder this person, I buy a gun, I go up to his house, I break into it, and then I shoot a bullet in his head. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between that crime. There are levels of severity. Otherwise, a guy who steals a grape is just as bad as...
drops a piano.
No, but it's literally, because then everything's equal. So a guy who steals a grape should be, locked up for the rest of his life. There are different levels. So I think this guy wasn't. He's not like, I'm going to go kill a black guy today.
He had a history of violence, apparently.
Yeah. But it's interesting. I don't think that anything came up about a history of racism. But, I mean, maybe.
Who knows?
I don't think George Floyd should have died. I think this guy
should be trialed.
Probably deserves manslaughter. But... there's, and this is going to be like sensitive. A lot of people are going to take it the wrong way.
Trigger alert.
Yeah, but I read that recently it came out that George Floyd was put away in 2009 for armed robbery. And that does not mean that he deserves to die. But it changes the story a bit because, and it's just not, it's like, is this the hill you want to die on? Like, is this the guy that you want to make your saint? Like, he shouldn't have died, but he was committing a crime. He was high on drugs, and he has a history of violent crime. He was alleged. I mean, they were called there because he was using counterfeit dough. Allegedly. He was high on drugs, and he was resisting arrest, which is pretty clear from the videos that I was watching. I mean, leading up to the point, right? Mm-hmm. So you watch the videos that document leading up to the point where has his knee on his neck. And he has a history of violent crime. Now, I think everybody has a chance to, like, come back and rebuild their lives. And, like, that doesn't mean that he deserves to die. But it changes the picture. Like, I just don't feel like it needs to be explained.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Anyway, I'm just glad we live here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess things are better.
Yeah. I really am not envy in people in Los Angeles or New York City right now. And this is just the beginning, because think about corona numbers in 2 weeks. Think about I'm very pessimistic as always.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm happy that we live in Israel, and I think, this is a great place. But I really do think America's a great country. Why, you really don't feel like it's a place to build, like, a life?
It's better than most places, but there are better places, I feel.
Like?
Australia, New Zealand, Canada.
You don't think there's anti-Semitism in Australia and New Zealand?
You were talking about Jews, or you were talking about general?
Anybody. You think anybody's better off in Australia than they are in the States?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Just because, I don't know. I don't feel like that there necessarily is. I think there's more opportunity, And people hate to talk about GDP, but I mean, the GDP's higher, right, per person. Like, you're going to do better off if you try in the States. I feel like.
Yeah, but the gap is not that big between United States, Australia, and Canada.
Yeah, maybe. But even
but for Jews,
here, right?
For Jews, definitely here is better. I feel it's better.
If you're Jewish, there's no other place in the world for you. I really believe that.
And on that note, what's next? What do you want to talk about?
Wait, can you tell us about Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen tweeted. I don't have the exact tweet with me, but essentially he said he was quoting Trump, and he said that it reminds him of Goebbels.
Yeah.
Right. And there was this meme. I don't know if in America too, but here in Israel, everybody was sharing this fake Time magazine cover. Have you seen it?
No.
There was a fake Time magazine cover that shows Hitler's hair, black Hitler hair on the white paper, and the mustache is the shadow of Trump. What? Right? Yeah, like someone photoshopped a fake Time magazine cover about all the recent events.
Viral?
It went viral, yes. And people shared it. Oh, look at it. And people didn't know it's fake, right? So they thought it's the real Time magazine. And they shared, oh, look, Time magazine. Wow, what a strong message. And
what a strong message.
And I was...
What is the message
and
there?
I was saying to people, you guys, this is Holocaust denial. This is Holocaust denial. Calling Trump Goebbels is Holocaust denial. Calling Trump Hitler is Holocaust denial.
That's interesting, yeah.
It's
true.
Because you cannot compare anybody or anything to Hitler and the Holocaust.
More than an injustice to Trump, it's an injustice to Hitler.
Yeah.
Like you're completely minimizing what he did.
Yeah, exactly. So when Sacha Baron Cohen calls him Goebbels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's Goebbels. Who has Trump killed?
I mean, Qasem el-Soleimani.
Yeah. It was a travesty. Oh my God.
Goebbels, man. I mean, how can a Jew say that?
It's ridiculous.
You obviously have no idea what the Holocaust was.
It's ridiculous.
You're just an ignorant and shame to Jews.
No, it's
our
awful.
dead.
Yeah, the people who died in the Holocaust.
Yeah.
It really is. Any comparison, really, but this out of all comparisons.
Trump, whose daughter is Jewish.
Yeah.
You call him Hitler.
I would even have might even have a problem comparing Iran to Hitler. right?
course.
Or
Yeah,
to the Third
no,
Reich.
Yes.
It's like they haven't done it yet.
No, right, yes.
They might,
Yes.
but they haven't done it
No,
yet.
their declarations
Are
similar, reminds you of declarations.
But
here it's
words-
word for word.
Exactly.
Words
No,
for
but also,
words.
again, guys, words are different than actions. Even if Donald Trump came out tomorrow and said, I don't know, what the worst thing you could think of, you can't compare. He didn't do anything. And he hasn't said anything. I mean, he honored the memory of George Floyd in a tweet, and there was some author who apparently like lashed out at him, saying like, you're disgusting, and I just don't understand like this. Like, it's just there's something vile in the hearts of these people that are like. I really believe that. I really believe that there has to be some desire, some malicious desire in the hearts of many of these people, at least the leaders who are leading this cause like against the
Anarchists.
American system.
They're anarchists.
It's
They're
unbelievable.
anarchists. So anyway, on another
Yes.
subject. So we did an episode this week with Moshe Feiglin. It
Yeah.
just went out. It's doing really well, actually. And we went there to his home.
In the occupied territories.
Yes, and after on the way back, you and I had this argument because he said some pretty offensive things, and I was pretty angry with you because as we just witnessed, Eytan can be so verbal, right, and so opinionated.
Yeah.
But suddenly, in front of Moshe Feiglin, he was he was like a puppy,
So what Naor is referring to is the fact that I voted for him. So he thinks I'm some kind of fanboy.
Yeah, but when he said some pretty disturbing things, I thought, and I was trying to argue with him and put him like put some counter arguments there.
I don't think
I was expecting Eytan to dive in and help me a bit, carry the load,
Yeah.
And he was just sitting there, sipping from his cup, eating a cookie.
I don't think anything. I hadn't had breakfast. That's why I was so like drowsy.
Because guys, so first of all, go and listen to the episode, and then listen to this upcoming bit. But essentially, what he said he was saying that if you are not religious, if you don't believe in God, then you have no values, that your values are based on nothing, on thin air, and that you have no right to be here if you don't believe in God.
Yeah.
And to me, that was outrageous.
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I agree with and what I disagree with, because I thought about it afterwards also.
Okay.
And first of all, I don't think anything he said was disturbing. But I'll tell you what I agree with and what I don't agree with. And I think that I lost my train of thought for a second.
You thought about it after we argued.
Yes. He said basically, if you don't believe in God, we don't have a right to be here, which for me is a bit troubling, because I don't because then he called you a fascist, because he said, if you don't believe in God, then what is our right to be here?
I should do a T-shirt with all the things I've been called.
And me too, dude. We really should
Nazi,
do that. That's actually
fascist,
a great idea.
racist.
I want one of those.
Without compassion.
Proud to have been called a fascist. Not because I want to be a fascist, but just because it shows how, anyway, whatever. We won't say it. But what I'm saying is that he was calling you a fascist for saying that basically you were saying that if I believe we have a right to be here.
I said that as a secular.
We won in the war.
As a secular, I have the right to be here for many reasons that have nothing to do with religion, from the fact that we won in the war, and to the fact that legal base, like international law, Balfour Declaration. Yeah, that's also a good argument.
So, and he said, basically, it goes back to the fact that we were given this land by God. And then, and if you don't believe in it, you're a fascist, because then it means might is right, and winner takes all, and it's just it's just like people going at it and killing each other, and so you're a fascist. But what I was thinking then is, and this is what I don't agree with. I don't agree with that argument that if you don't believe in God, we don't belong here. Because then what is the right for anyone to be anywhere? Right? God didn't give God doesn't. There's no part of the Bible that like lists how to divvy up the land of the world.
Right.
There's only the Jewish people. Yeah. Like, so what right does the Namibians have in Namibia, or what right do the French have in France?
Maybe they have a god too. You don't know.
Or either everybody has a god that promised them a land, which kind of goes against Jewish belief. Or everybody else except for the Jewish people are just barbarians fighting it over are fascists, basically, as he called you. So that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Couldn't
you come up with that?
No, I had to think about it. I really had to think about it. It didn't make sense to me. I didn't agree with it immediately, but that argument didn't come to me. And okay. If the Bible had divvied up the land in the world and was like Namibia for the Namibians, yeah. Australia for those crazy fucks.
But what do you think about his second argument that I have no values because I don't believe in God?
So this is where I kind of agree with him. I don't necessarily agree that it has to be a belief in the Jewish God, but I do believe it has a strong basis in Judeo-Christian values. And I think that what I would translate his words into in my head is that basically believing in good and bad, good and evil, right? Mm-hmm. Which I think is one of the basic, the foundations of leading a good life in this world, is like being able to say there's good and there's evil and I want to be good. That requires a leap of faith. And I don't know that, and that's what I think. I think that leap of faith is what most religious people would call belief in God. You might call it, I don't know what you would call
my mother taught me.
But it doesn't exactly. But it's not rationale. It's not philosophy. What I'm saying is that, like, in the end, and this is what I said to you, you can rationalize your way around why people should be good. But in the end, you're always going to come up with a counter argument. And at the end of the day, it's not like you're going to come up with some proof, QED, good equals good. Right? You're never going to come to that point. So at the end of the day, you have to make a decision, and that decision is based on a leap of faith. It's saying, you know what? I believe good is good. There's something deep inside me that says good is good. It's not good to hurt another
But why can't
it
just be my common sense?
So you can call it common sense.
Fine.
But I don't think it has to, because I think common sense has a connotation of logic and rationale, and I don't think that you can actually rationalize your way through why good is good. And we can have that conversation. But I just don't think, and I believe good is good, but I don't think that you'll be able to get to a point where you say, you know what, that makes complete sense.
But why does believing in God makes it so easy? Like, it's almost too easy. If I believe in God, then no worries. Like, that's the final answer, and then I don't need to worry too much about
what is good and what is bad. God said so. Yeah, that's one of the qualms I have also with religion. There's this whole idea of Na'aseh v'nishma, right? Do and then we will hear, which means like
I need
first
a tissue,
you do,
so talk to them.
Yeah. First you do, then you think. Basically, the idea is like we have commandments from God, we do them, and then we'll ask questions about why we're doing them. But I would say that the do and then think, that idea is that leap of faith. It all goes back to that leap of faith. There's something inside you that tells you what is right to do. Listen to it. And I don't believe that evil people think that the evil they're doing is really, truly good. I think that Hitler, at the core, knew that he was evil.
Interesting.
I think
that goes back to Hitler.
I really do. I think that, we all have that. We all know what's good, and we choose to do bad.
Right. Anyway, so it was an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy.
He is. He's really intriguing.
And I think it was a very interesting episode.
It is.
Did he convince you?
About what? About
voting for him again?
Nah.
No?
A lot would have to happen for me to vote for him again. You guys don't know, but basically what happened, I mean, many of you might not know. But what basically happened was he ran in the first elections. He was predicted to get 6 or 7 mandates, and then he got 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. He was missing 10,000 votes.
Yeah, which doesn't pass the threshold, and then he did make it into the Knesset.
So Eytan felt dumped.
Yeah, I felt like my vote was stolen away.
Yeah,
but I can't really blame him for that. I can, because of the silly foot massage.
Yeah, not the massage, but whipping.
It was also a massage, and then it was. Oh,
then they whipped. Tell the audience. Yeah, tell
God,
it.
I don't know what happened. My dad sent it to me the day before.
Tell people.
And I really, I'm building up the curiosity. He sent it to me like the day before the elections.
Yeah.
The actual day of the elections.
It happened the day before the election.
Yeah, and it shook me. I considered not voting for him. Because I was like, how do you find yourself in such a ridiculous situation?
Okay, enough building up.
Basically, he's in an interview with some guy in a studio. And at some point, I mean, no one actually even knows the context because who cares to watch this whole interview? They just, see this point in the video. He's got the guy's foot up on his knee and he's massaging it and then slapping it. Moshe Feiglin, the politician that we interviewed, is sitting on a chair. The interviewer has his foot on Moshe Feiglin's knee, and Moshe Feiglin is like slapping it in this weirdly erotic way.
Yeah. Unclear. Maybe
he had me until then, and I, it lasted. It didn't wear off until after the election, so I still voted for him because I love his ideas of. He's very libertarian, but that was.
So yeah, listen to the episode, guys, and let us know what you thought.
Wow.
What?
Your clock is still on 3. I'm not sure you're recording.
I think we are recording.
But I don't know about yours.
Mine is. As long as the red lights are flashing, you're recording. In theory,
guys.
I mean, we'll find out soon enough. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, you're right. Oh my God. Because it's hours and minutes.
Okay.
All good.
Okay, so, we good. Technology.
Oh God, that was scary. How could it be hours and minutes though? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Anyway,
it's fine. Worst comes to worst, you guys will have to deal with not seeing my face close up.
So the wedding is happening. Give us an update.
Who knows?
You're preparing.
We are
preparing for the worst and expecting the best.
Exactly. Well, no, we're preparing for the best and expecting the worst.
Okay.
Really, we're prepared. Like we're going like there's nothing standing in our way. We're sending out invites soon, and 26th of June, guys, if you want to come to the wedding. We're not even allowed to have like 50 people, but
bring a check. You can just send the check.
Send a check in the mail to njb.com/donate. No, but we're basically en route to do it on the 26th, but we're expecting not to. I really do, in my mind, I don't see it happening.
Really?
Yeah, but I like the more rational side of me says it will happen, but like my heart is like, this can't actually be happening. Right? Because there's just like so many hurdles.
Yeah.
They were supposed to release on the 1st of June. They were supposed to lift the limitation to 100 people, and then on the 14th, the Israeli government set these these
stepping stones.
These stepping stones, yeah. These a timeline. Basically, every 2 weeks they would lift different limitations. And on the 1st of June, they were supposed to lift like events up to 100, and then on the 14th, lift it like pretty much completely. But then that 100 got delayed. So
still,
only now are they allowed to do 100 with 50 people in 2 different spots. So only if you're big enough to separate your event hall into like 2 areas, and only if it's outside, you could do 50 and 50, right?
And can you do that?
Yeah, so technically we could, but I talked to the guy and I'm like, I don't know if we're interested in doing it like that. And then the other thing is
just put the people you want to sacrifice on one side and the people you care about on the other side.
Exactly.
If you have any, heirs.
The people I'm inviting just for the gift over there. No, so think about it. So Jewish. Oh man. So we're that on Sunday they're supposed to lift it so that it can be 100 people in one place.
Okay.
And that's like already basically
unless numbers get worse, and they are getting worse.
Exactly. And that's already a week late, right? So then the 14th, is that really going to happen on the 14th, or is it going to happen on the 21st? That's 5 days before a wedding. I hope Shalom's not watching this because I'm like the one that's like, no, everything's gonna be okay.
Nobody got this far into the episode.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
We're alone on, right now. It's just me and you,
guys. If you are still listening, we adore you.
We love you.
What can I say, man? Look, they did some stupid things. I think they opened the entire school system, and now they are closing schools every other day. Every school they just find one COVID-19 positive, they close the school. So every day they close like 3 schools. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and other schools are afraid to, parents are afraid to send their children, so they just don't send the children.
But you were telling me about that Tel Aviv University. Can you tell us about it? The Tel Aviv University study, which is really interesting and kind of hopeful.
From what I hear, it's shady.
Ah, yeah.
But essentially, it was.
Because I've already told everybody I know.
They checked. They did a poll of and they took blood tests from, how do you say, like
a sample. They basically took a sample, like a representative sample of the population, and
right?
Took blood tests.
And took blood tests and did a serological tests for COVID, and they found out.
Which basically checks antibodies and has like a very high accuracy. Allegedly.
And they found out, I don't remember, what was the number?
I think you told me like that according to that sample, 200,000 Israelis have gotten COVID.
Right, out of 9 million.
Out of 9 million. Instead of what they think
We're
today is
exposed
to COVID. Meaning they have the antibodies of COVID-19 in them.
Yeah.
As opposed to what they think today is 16,000,
right.
17,000.
Right.
So it's like more than 10 times.
And almost 300 dead. So instead of 300 dead for 16,000, if that's true, it's 300 dead for 200,000.
And then the death rate goes down to...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think there was no reason to send back to school kids over 6th grade.
Tell that to the parents, man.
No, why? Above 6th grade.
I feel like the parents at that point were like, just get COVID, I don't care.
Above 6th, 7th grade, there's no problem. The parents can go to work. They can leave this, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids at home.
Yeah.
No problem.
Which, by the way, is like unheard of in the States.
Really?
Yeah. Are you kidding? It's just like, there's an interesting piece I saw about a mom who had her kid... like a 14-year-old kid or something playing, and she was arrested for abandoning her child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you could do it. I think, look, if things continue that way, I feel that some big changes are upon us with education. And not only that we're going to have huge problems continuing next year with the education system, but people will find out the truth, which is that at least in Israel, education, like most of the education for kids, it's pretty futile. They don't really need the school.
The school system. Yeah,
they don't need it. They need it for social reasons, maybe, for structural reasons. But pure educational aspect,
they're not getting so much out of it.
No, they could watch YouTube videos and
yeah, but most of them wouldn't.
Okay.
Most of them would watch Netflix.
But now it looks like there's not going to be much choice. Like, parents are going to have to find a way to educate their kids through the internet.
To homeschool them.
Homeschool or find educational
it's going to be devastating
vehicles.
for social interaction. Like, think about it. It's a whole generation that's just basically being isolated in their home.
Yeah. Insults.
I mean, it's not...
Bunch of insults they're going to be.
It's not like... it's not sustainable, man. I don't know. I disagree with you on this one. I think we should open up, and it's not because of the wedding. I feel like that goes without saying.
It's
but
not
really
about the wedding, but ask me again in a month.
Yeah.
I might change my mind.
I might change my mind. No, but I really don't think that... I mean, we've had this discussion before, but I think it's an issue of civil liberties. And I just hate this government that's like, no, like, but look, you're not behaving.
Parents are not sending their kids. The schools are open.
It's up to the parents.
Sababa, but they don't want to send it.
Okay.
The kids.
A parent who doesn't want to send the kids, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
So that goes to show that the actions of the government have foundations in the public opinion. People are afraid.
No,
they are afraid.
You can't say that, like, they've I don't know, done a referendum or whatever, memorandum or whatever it's called. They haven't like put it out to vote. And they haven't even voted in the Knesset.
People are afraid, and they're right to be afraid. The numbers are scary. I was just in another. I all day I'm in internet arguments, but I was in an argument on Twitter. Someone was posting, look, just a few kids are sick. If you look at the numbers abroad, kids don't die from corona. So even if thousands of kids will get sick, so what? So nothing will happen. So no need for panicking.
Yeah, but the kids go home.
Exactly. They go home. Yeah. They meet the grandparents.
No,
and they meet their parents. Argument.
But I really think it is for us to decide how each individual needs to handle his risk. And I know that like now everybody's like, what? It's not how viruses work. It's like, well, I mean, if you want to stay home and lock yourself down and not let anybody into your home, do that. Plenty of people like we've seen, right? Many of the people we know in the States have gone out, and not everybody has this privilege, but have gone to their homes or rented a home far away from the city, right? And locked down there. Mm-hmm. And that's a possibility. Do that if you see that's what you need to do. And also, if you're poor, you can also today. That's the great thing about today is that like most people, and again, I'm not saying if like you're dirt poor, you obviously
can make
don't
ends
have much,
meet
from
from
internet.
Home.
You can order stuff, right? So maybe it's going to be tough. A lot of people will lose their jobs, and then you have to decide: do you want to go?
We're so close to 0 cases.
Yeah, but what is it? And then it disappears. It's not going to disappear across the world. You cannot.
I don't care about the world. I care about my country.
No, but then what? Do you close the borders of Israel for everybody going in and out?
It's easier
for 2 years.
Sustain. It's easier to sustain the problem if you get to 0 or near 0 numbers. Then you can control who goes out, who goes in. You can monitor these people. You can do things. And look, 70% of the cases in Israel of COVID were people who came from abroad. 70%. It's crazy.
It is.
So, and we were so close before we opened the schools. We were like we had less than 2,000 cases, and every day you had 200 less. So in 2 weeks we were so close.
Yeah, but that 2 weeks makes a big difference for a lot of people.
Of course, that's also true.
All right.
Anyway, guys, so thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
And next time we'll do the recap. Eytan will no longer be a bachelor. Man. Yes.
Hopefully.
So all the girls out
I'm
there.
not single now. Yeah, I won't be.
But according to
unmarried.
According to God.
According to Jewish law.
Yes.
Yes.
So all the girls out there.
Down. I actually have the wedding rings here on me.
Really?
Yeah, I picked them up today.
Show us.
Oh, come on.
Show
really?
us. Yeah.
All right, fine. I'll get them.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully they're not the cheap ones.
They are.
Hopefully there's a ruby.
Okay, guys, you're getting to see these before Sharon even sees them. She's gonna. Oh no, we picked them out together. These are the wedding rings, not the engagement ring.
Okay.
So basically, you got the big one. Now you pay for them by weight, right? Because it's just basically 2 gold bands, right? They're simple gold bands. Uh-huh. So you pay for them by weight. This is how small Sharon is compared to me. Mine cost 4 times the amount.
Wow.
Because her finger is like.
That's the price of being a man.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, they're
Are you gonna
nice.
wear it?
Yeah, man, I'm excited to wear it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to wear it. Which I don't know. Maybe I'll get over it after a while, but I think I'll be excited to wear it. Yeah. I like it. Yeah.
Because deep down you're a redneck.
I'm a redneck. Rednecks don't wear wedding bands.
I mean, ours, but it doesn't translate. Yeah. Anyway, awesome, man.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right, guys.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Before we go, we have an international continental
global multinational
collaboration system.
Yes. Get ready for this.
And let's do it upside down this time. So first and the newest one is with the Australian Jewish News. If you live in Australia or interested in what's going on in the Jewish community in Australia, tune in. Go to their website, ajn.timesofisrael.com. nationalnews.com.
Yes.
And subscribe to the newsletter, follow them everywhere. Also, ערוץ 7.
Also, yes, ערוץ 7, israelnationalnews.com. Check them out. They're a great news source here in Israel. They have a website. They're also on Facebook. Sometimes we go live there, so check them out. israelnationalnews.com.
Yes, and last but not least, the Jewish Journal.
They have a special place in our heart.
True.
They were our first.
Yes.
Yes.
JewishJournal.com. They have podcasts. They're huge on Instagram. You got to follow them on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Facebook, everywhere. Check them out and stay updated in what's going on in the Jewish community in America. And of course, help us out.
Please
go to 2njb.com/donate.
Yeah, we do this on our free time.
Yes.
So if you got some money to spare and you want to help us out, 2njb.com/donate.
That's it.
It was a pleasure.
Me too, sir. Me too.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.